If you've got a moment, I've got a story worth telling. Out on the frontier, stories don't travel far. The ones that do usually cost someone something.
Chapter 36. The Shattered Crown. The chamber split open with a sound like the world's spine breaking. Light burst from the floor in jagged seams, each crack belching heat and smoke as if the planet itself had been set alight. The crown's vast ribs of alien metal groaned above, plates grinding, shifting, bending in directions that defied sense. Machines that had slept for centuries spasmed awake, gears shrieking, pistons hammering in rhythms too fast to follow. And at the heart of it all, Stone knelt, shaking violently, half man, half god, the struggle tearing him apart. Mack barely kept his footing as the ground lurched beneath him. Dust and shards of glass-like mineral rained down from above, cutting fresh wounds across his arms. He threw a hand up to shield his eyes and squinted through the chaos. "Stone!" he bellowed. His voice was swallowed almost instantly by the roar of collapsing machinery, but he forced it louder, raw, tearing at his throat. "You've got to hold on! Don't let it eat you!" Stone answered only with a scream that was not entirely human. His wings flared wide, shards of molten light splintering and scattering through the air. Each fragment struck the walls and detonated like grenades, blasting open more fissures. Ace groaned from behind a shattered pillar, dragging himself upright on trembling arms. His skin was gray with exhaustion, his eyes hollow, but he still reached out with the shard burning faintly in his chest. "Mack." His voice touched Mack's mind like a whisper through static. "He's bleeding into the crown. It's not just him fighting anymore. The whole bloody structure's turning against itself." As if to punctuate the words, the floor surged upward in a ripple, buckling steel-hard stone like water. Alien conduits burst from the ground, snaking toward Stone as though the crown itself meant to bind him. Mack didn't think. He sprinted. The shockwave from Stone's next convulsion hit him square, lifting him off his feet and slamming him against a wall. His armor took most of it, but the impact rattled his bones. He spat blood, pushed himself upright, and kept moving. The conduits wrapped around Stone's limbs, his torso, his throat. They sparked with violent light, embedding themselves in the seams of his armor, trying to drag him down, trying to fuse with him. Stone fought them, and himself. His human arm ripped one conduit free, his godlike arm seized another and pulled it tighter. His face twisted between agony and fury, two halves locked in war. "Mack!" Ace's voice broke, both aloud and in Mack's head. "If he merges with it fully, we lose him. We all go with him." "I bloody know!" Mack shouted back, leaping over a fissure that spat fire like a dragon's throat. He reached Stone and grabbed him by the shoulders. The heat was unbearable, the glow from his armor like touching a forge, but Mack clung on anyway. "Stone, look at me!" For a heartbeat, Stone's human eye met his. It was bloodshot, wild, desperate. Then the vessel's voice surged through him, cold and final. "You cannot save what no longer exists." The conduit surged, binding tighter, lifting Stone bodily from the floor. His wings spread wide, blazing so brightly Mack was forced to turn his head away or be blinded. Ace dragged himself into the open, staggering on broken legs. He lifted a shard of debris in one hand, gritted his teeth, and shoved his will into the psychic link once more. His voice cracked, but held. "Stone, if you were gone, if you were really gone, why would you still be fighting?" Stone screamed again, but this time, Mack heard the human in it. The chamber reacted violently. Beams of energy shot from the crown's upper lattice, raking across the floor. Whole segments of wall folded inward, like teeth closing in. The air grew so hot, Mack thought his lungs would blister. He pulled harder on Stone's shoulders. "You're not theirs. You're ours. You're my brother, and I'll drag you back kicking and screaming if I have to." Stone's body convulsed. One arm ripped free of the conduits, lashing outward, blasting a column into rubble. The other arm tightened its grip on the restraints, dragging more into his flesh. His mouth opened, and both voices poured out at once. Mack, Ace. We are infinite. He is already lost. The duality was tearing him in half. The floor beneath them split wide, a chasm glowing with molten light yawning open. Mack barely held his footing, one boot slipping to the edge. Ace! Mack roared. Do something! I am doing something, Ace screamed back, veins bulging with the strain of keeping the link alive. Blood streamed from his nose. His body trembled violently. But he's got to meet me halfway! Stone's head snapped upward, eyes blazing. His wings shattered into fragments of light that circled the chamber like orbiting blades. Some cut into the walls, others into the floor, gouging new wounds into the structure. The crown answered with a deep, resonant boom. Not mechanical, but almost like a voice, low and inhuman, shaking dust from the ceiling. Mack realized with a jolt of horror, it wasn't just stone inside the fight anymore. The crown itself was aware. The conduits tightened around Stone, dragging him toward the central dais. He struggled, ripping free again and again, but each time the vessel in him drove him back under, bending him toward the machinery. Mack leapt forward, wrapped both arms around Stone's chest, and held on with every ounce of strength he had. The heat scorched him, blistered his skin even through armor, but he refused to let go. "You're bloody not going," he roared into Stone's ear. "Not to them, not today. You're one of us, you hear me? One of us!" Stone convulsed violently. His human voice tore free in a ragged shout. "Mack!" Then his vessel voice roared over top, shaking the chamber. "You will break with him!" The conduit surged, coiling around both of them now, dragging Mack and Stone together toward the dais. Ace, seeing them pulled in, screamed with fury. He hurled the shard of debris in his hand, not at Stone, but at the conduits themselves. It struck, and for an instant, his psychic link flared through it, exploding in a surge of light that severed half the bindings. The backlash threw Ace flat, unconscious before he hit the floor. Mack and Stone tumbled free of the conduits, crashing hard against the ground. The chamber shook harder still, whole slabs of alien stone tearing loose and plummeting. The crown's light dimmed, then surged back brighter, as though it had taken the attack personally. Mack rolled onto his stomach, gasping for breath. His body screamed with pain, but he forced his head up. Stone lay only feet away, twitching, light still bleeding from his cracks. He was still in the fight, still split down the middle. The chamber continued to collapse around them. The alien crown was tearing itself apart, but not in surrender, in rage. Mack staggered upright, swaying, spitting blood. He fixed his eyes on Stone. "You're not gone yet, and I'm not leaving without you." The ground shuddered again, and the three of them, Mack, Ace, and the fractured Stone, were swallowed in a storm of fire and ruin as the crown itself began to fall.
That is the end for this one. Make sure you come back for more, and like and subscribe. See you soon.